Assemble the accused! Bear witness to their trials. The time of the Inquisition is now at hand. Putting pop culture to the rack, the Inquisition calls to account the events of the week, rooting out heresy wherever it is found. I am Grand Inquisitor Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and joining me for tonight's torture is Nerdrotic Channel's Grand Inquisitor, Gary Beekler. Gary, how are you holding up tonight after watching Wokeman?
Wow. That was impressively bad. I didn't think it could get worse than last week, and it did. So I'm going to stop trying to think that and just kind of roll with the punches on this one.
Yes, don't have any expectations of improvement or any expectations at all. Wokeman defies all rational thought, expectations, tastes, whatever. It is shit.
Logic. Logic. Yeah. And we had a brief discussion before the show just to kind of get our bearings on the situation. And honestly, I tried to watch this objectively. I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit back and just get all of my preconceived notions, everything, all the logic out of my brain, basically sift my brain of any sanity and watch this. And I liked the music. I think Trent Reznor's soundtrack is good. That's it. That's all. You called what Judd was, the first 5 minutes of our review last week, we all figured out what Judd, by the way, we're going to spoil the hell out of this episode if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, of course. We can't discuss it without, but I mean, you can't spoil garbage, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's already spoiled. Spoiled. So, he is, you called it, man. I got to give you credit. He was the grand poobah of the KKK. So whatever their titles are, I don't know.
Yes, the grand exalted wizard dragon of womb or something. I don't know what it is, but he was. And oh God, this was awful. So once again, this episode of Wokeman starts out trying to make us all woke and feel bad if we are not people of color who have been oppressed. So it starts out with Nazi Germany. So, in the first episode, it was the Tulsa massacre where they were all, beating up on black folks in, Black Wall Street in Tulsa in 21, I think it was.
Yeah. No, it was World War I Germany, pre-Nazi Germany.
Oh no, I meant episode 1 in Tulsa. It was like 21 or something. Now this is in World War II in Nazi Germany. They want a woman who speaks English, and then she's helping the Nazi type up propaganda to stir up black resentment against whites in the army, and dropping leaflets on our forces. And black people in the forces are reading about, all the horrible, white people things that they're doing. When he's reading a flyer, a white guy comes and spits on him. I thought that was World War I, though. I thought that was World War I Germany. During that time, yeah. Pre-Nazi. But was it?
It's still, I think so, because it was supposed to be, I think it was the guy's granddad. The one who was, remember the guy who handed his gun to his wife, although he was a trained soldier? Yeah, of course you remember that. You brought it up last episode. But yeah, I missed it during the review because I was so, just into the show. But I missed the fact that the husband who was trained, a World War I veteran, handed his gun to his wife so he could hold the baby. Yeah. So I think it was the same guy. I'm pretty sure that was the same guy because the leaflet
it was the same guy. Yeah. And it's the old guy, who was a kid who was reading the pamphlet about, the white excesses and so on.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah,
but they still invoked Germany. And it's the Germans have made quite a comeback in entertainment recently.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, what to what end? To what end? I understand that they're trying to make us feel bad about being white people and how we've been oppressive and everything with the 1921 Tulsa massacre. I understand that, but what's the point of then going to the Nazis and the pamphlet thing? I guess it's also to make us feel bad by proxy, to make us like even the Germans weren't so bad. Like the Germans were condemning the culture of the time, dropping the pamphlets and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the point of this show is. What is the point, Gary?
That's a very good question. A show written by a white guy and produced mostly by white guys. I don't know. It almost feels like a giant apology for Oscars So White. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's not Watchmen. And
no, it's not.
We're going to get into it later. You and I have been criticized and called something that we're not by.
Of course.
And we're going to poke holes. We're going to take that to task in a little bit.
Yes.
No, it's for one. I mean, I don't. We're all individuals. I don't do that groupthink thing. So what people did, who I wasn't related to, weren't any part of my ancestry, my ancestors weren't in the country at that time. My ancestors were actually getting murdered by communists. So that's why they came to America. So yeah, I don't know what this show is supposed to be other than that. It's supposed to be an alternate history. Some of that stuff can be interesting when it's not so heavy-handed.
Oh, it's so heavy-handed. I mean, he's playing, Carmina Burana. He's playing Ride of the Valkyries. I mean, it's just so terribly grand, and yet absolutely not a fucking thing happens in this whole episode. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I called it last week that Don Johnson was the head honcho racist, and that the police were riddled with racists, and they were part of the 7th Cavalry, because that's how the gun got delayed. And all we do this entire episode is that's the big revelation.
Yeah, he has a perfect Ku Klux Klan uniform in his closet, just there.
Yeah, minty fresh,
and like it with reverence.
In its box.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know when he was supposed to do all that stuff, and if he was part of the 7th Cavalry. Then so they're making Judd the comedian. That's what they're doing of the story. So what they're doing here is this is a remake of Watchmen. And remember, when they originally sold this to the public, it was not called a direct sequel to the comics. It was called a remix. I want you to remember that. They were saying it wasn't connected to the comics or the show. It was going to be its own thing, its own reality. When they first announced it, that's what they said. They said it's going to be like an alternate Watchmen remixy thing. So now it's a direct sequel to the comics, but I think that's just what they called it. I think I think what they intended to make is what they are making right now, and they're going to somehow call it. And this could be explained later. I do understand that, but Dr. Manhattan should not be on Mars. So I think that's a red herring. I think I think I kind of have it somewhat figured out.
Well, you're assuming that this Lindelhoff is going to pay any attention whatsoever to canon, to any respect at all. I mean, as far as he's concerned, maybe he stopped at the part where Dr. Manhattan was on Mars and never read the rest. And so as far as he's concerned, Dr. Manhattan is on Mars building pueblos,
Pueblos. And that's
what it was.
That's exactly what it was. And this would not be the first time I have gone on a false assumption. So, I mean, yeah, I totally agree with that. I'll just come out and say, I think, with some of the symbolism we've seen in the background with the multiple globes and the multiple planets, and I think that we're either dealing with an alternate reality, or maybe this is the world Dr. Manhattan went to another galaxy to go make. I'm starting to think this Ozymandias character is alone, like in the world. I don't. They said their stories are not gonna interconnect. They're like Ozymandias is not gonna go. He's never gonna meet Regina King's character, Night Whammon. as you called her.
Yes, she is Night Whammon,
yes.
folks. Like in tribute to Nightman, I have dubbed her Night Whammon because I haven't been able to actually be bothered to learn what her character's actual name is, so I just don't care anymore.
And
she's Bat Whammon.
Who do you call Looking Glass?
Looking Glass is Party Balloon. So he's a Party Balloon. If you want to know, that's what I mean. I don't know Looking Glass, whatever. I mean, more Alice in Wonderland shit. Really?
Well,
everything's on Alice in Wonderland.
It's a White Rabbit production, Doomcock.
Oh,
it's so
God.
Deep. It's
yeah,
so
deep in the rabbit a-hole. It's just terrible. All right.
God, Star Trek Discovery does that same shit too.
I know they do. It's just absolutely terrible. Dr. Darth Stater says, so long as they put a hint of the actual Watchmen lore people care about, Dr. Manhattan in the background on news, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's totally worth watching, right? Get woke. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. It's just like littered with a few little like
member berries
that are, just kind of gathered around just to make it seem like it, dropping. It's like name dropping at Hollywood, even if you don't know, Tom, or you don't know Leonardo, that you drop their names, to act like you do. That's basically what Lindelof seems to be doing. Did you catch the credits that there's a Coos involved in this too?
No.
Yep.
Really?
There was a Coos. I think it's probably his son.
Carlton Coos, all the Lost son, people.
Nick Coos and Damon Lindelof. So they're sticking it to us, brother. They are sticking it to us.
So exactly. So my favorite part, the episode starts out where it ended. Of course, Don Johnson is hanged, right. And very subtly, a drop of blood comes off and hit his badge, just like the comedian's button. Member Barry. Member Watchmen? Yeah. So Louis Gossett Jr., who I love Louis Gossett Jr.
He's fantastic.
Oh my God. Yep. Enemy Mine is one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yep.
And he does his best in this garbage. He says he hanged Judd.
Right.
And
all by himself.
By himself. So Night Whammon drives up in her car and does not arrest him. Gets him in her car. Night Whammon drives away in her car. I want to do this very slowly. He rolled up in his wheelchair. She drove up in her car. They drove away, left the body there, which was later discovered by this crack team of police that never bothered to check for tire tracks or anything. Whatever.
Or two pairs of tire tracks. There would be the car tires and then there would be the wheelchair tires. But no, nobody checked. Nobody cares.
And she interrogates him, and he claims that over and over again that he's the person who strung up the sheriff, and he's got skeletons in the closet. And the whole time, like, I know who he is to her. I don't know what it was supposed to be a big mystery the whole time. Big shocker. It's Grandpa. It's Grandpa. Because we live in this small world where Tulsa is the epicenter of everything. And I think this is a good time to bring up what you brought up in our yes.
So we in this episode, so basically nothing much happens in this episode, okay? I mean, you could really like sum up the plot in almost, just a paragraph. It's very easy. While she's investigating, she wants to know who this guy is. She asks him who he is. He says, "I'm the one who strung up your chief of police." So she takes some DNA from him, goes and sets him up for reparations. They have little reparation stations. The reparation station.
Yes, they have a reparation kiosk, and it's a double reparation because there's the reparations for the United States, and then there's a Tulsa reparation for the massacre.
Right.
That you go to a kiosk, and there's a whole museum with holograms. Right. And you go up and you test the DNA. You can just swab the DNA from a coffee cup that she gave him. She gave Grandpa a coffee cup, and he drank some coffee. She swabbed it, and did that.
So it's just awful, and so that tells her the DNA that he's her grandfather. Okay, we find that out. Big whoop. But anyway, so we find out from the museum what the White Knight was. The White Knight was when the 7th Cavalry went on a rampage and attacked simultaneously on Christmas Eve, or the first hour of Christmas, 40 Tulsa police. 40. So once again, Lindelof proves what an idiot he is. His central premise is that the whole world has changed, and that now police wear vigilante masks and are anonymous, and they're doing all these like extra legal things like vigilantes and so on. This only happened in Tulsa. So is Tulsa now a separate kingdom, a separate like nation, or is Tulsa just a little city in the greater United States that still has laws and still has police officers functioning like police officers? And inexplicably, these idiots are running around in masks and vigilantes. This is stupid. This is stupid. They're acting like society has changed by this white knight thing. I had assumed, like you did, Gary, that it happened all across the country, but no, it happened in Tulsa. 40 cops. So, and here's the thing, folks. Here's the real kicker. So the 7th Cavalry found out, where they lived and everything and their names, and they went and they attacked them. So the 7th Cavalry already knows who they are. The 7th Cavalry is still around. So what the fuck are they wearing masks for? What good is it doing? What is it preventing? And they're just trying to say, oh, I've retired and stuff. All the 7th Cavalry have to do is stake out her house and see that she's leaving as Batwoman, Nightwoman. She's Nightwoman. And oh, she's spray painting her eyes. Really?
Yeah.
That's going to do it. This is stupid. This is idiotic.
This is the great hoax of Mystery Box. So you withhold information with basically the narrator is unreliable. They withhold information so they don't have to world build. It's a lazy form of storytelling, and I'm sick of it because it's been done well by people with talent, but it is not done well here. You need to have a grasp of like what the world is. Alan Moore was able to pretty much illustrate that within the first issue of Watchmen. You got a great sense of the world, and even Zack Snyder did that in his film. So for something to be equal to Watchmen, equal to the original Watchmen. Again, this is just a remake. They're trying to hit all the same beats. They even had the damn newsstand in here. And they're going to be, by the way, there's 9 episodes. We're 2 in. There's 2 major characters we have not been introduced yet. I actually know a lot about this show. I've had a couple of HBO insiders chirping at me for about a year, and they have been telling me this thing is nothing but an unmitigated disaster, and it tested poorly with audiences. They knew how it would test with critics because critics have become their little lapdogs now. And critics pretty much have become a tool of these major corporations. And really Joker, I think the film has exposed them in so many ways to the general public. Some stuff we've seen for here in the Fandom Menace, you and I, our brilliant chat, have seen for a couple of years now. And it's just really easy to get good reviews. And you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to pay for anything. I mean, it is just easily done. So yeah, that the whole newsstand, I have a little circle. I put Memberberry and I circle. There were, I think, like 10 in this episode. And I don't think I caught them all. I'm gonna have to watch it. God, I don't want to watch it again. I don't. Yeah. But yes. So we're supposed to realize this is supposed to happen just in Tulsa. So all the cops in the entire country based on 40 cops, or is this just happening in Tulsa? See, the thing is, I don't know. There's no mental map of this whatsoever.
No, but it's pathetic. I mean, after all this happens, they really just it looks like all of civilization has changed when the cops are dressing up like vigilantes, beating the shit out of people, and pulling these weird extra legal interrogations in this weird pod. I mean, it's just ridiculous. this is not world building. This is garbage. Okay. Yeah. This is garbage. Like, for example, I mean, in this episode, I don't know. Should we? I'm trying to figure out the best way to
go. Well, you can just go through the episode. I mean, you know.
Yeah. So basically, you know, they're Night Woman, you know, is called out by the cops. They found Don Johnson's body, Judd, hanging. So she goes out there. She was talking to the old man in the wheelchair. So, you know, she goes out and to the scene of the crime.
And she leaves him there, by the way.
She leaves him there. She just leaves him there. So she's sitting there in the car. Party Balloon enters her car. She pulls her mask down to talk to Party Balloon, which defeats the purpose of the mask. You know, she's sitting there right there with the, you know, the windshield and everything. Now there's mostly cops there, but oddly enough, some paparazzi crash into the scene. Literally, they have these stupid mechanical wings, and they were trying to get footage.
Remember
of the crime
scene. Yeah, that was a member, Barry.
Well, yeah, it was, and they get beaten up. Somebody asks on the scene, who's in command here? Nobody knows. There would be a definite answer in a police department. I mean, they have ranks. They have that kind of thing covered, but they can't answer that. They cut him down. So then we cut to the Christmas scene. Night Woman is dancing with her hubby. The house gets invaded by 7th Cavalry. They have a big fight. Turns out it's a flashback to the White Knight. She wakes up. She's about to get blown away. She blacks out, and somehow she wakes up in the hospital. Don Johnson's there. His arm is in a sling. We find out that 40 cops were attacked by Rorschachs. He says by Rorschachs.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they know who the fuck Rorschach is? Exactly. Why would the whole world know about Rorschach, Gary? I mean, we know because we've read Watchmen, but I mean, why would they assume he's a racist? Why? I just don't get it.
They haven't. See, these are things they need to explain, and of course the rebuttal to that is they'll explain it. I wouldn't be so sure. Go look at some of the link. Go look at any of the interviews with Damon Lindelof. See what he says before you go off with that statement. I don't know how they would know about Rorschach, and
why would they interpret that he was a white supremacist?
That's
what I'm asking. Really.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't. See, this is where they took things a bit too far. Rorschach was sending stuff into a right-wing magazine, right? But it was more of a libertarian right-wing magazine, but it was still right-wing. But the thing is, they just right now the current vibe is anybody who's right-wing is racist. Duh. That's why they made that giant leap. Now, if they would have stopped at right-wing and made it like an Alex Jones type of organization, you know, you can say it's like a squid truther or something. So that would have made sense. That would have totally made sense that this group, because it came out.
He's not a racist at all. And Ether 101 Prime in the chat. Hey, by the way, all you guys in the chat, hail to you and thank you for being here, you guys. I mean, we're so angry about this shit.
They based it on one reading of Watchmen and his what would be the homophobic remarks by Rorschach. They just extrapolated racism out of that. Again, and these are the people who tell us we don't understand Rorschach. So they showed Rorschach's origin. They showed what his relationship was to sex, period. Gay sex, straight sex, any kind of sex. He was turned off because his mom was a lady of the night. So he wasn't really into any of it. He is every bad feeling he had was associated with that. So that's why he would bring that stuff up. You can't really make that leap to racism, but they thought it was a convenient one because it would fulfill a narrative.
Just because he's right wing in there, so that equals automatically in their minds. Ether 101 Prime says his diary was leaked at the end of the comic on the last page. No, it was not. It was actually in a position to be leaked, but it was never actually leaked. So, I mean, we don't know what happened. But even if his diary was leaked, it has nothing to do with you know,
his diary was in the crank file.
South's going to rise again and shit.
Yep, his diary was in the crank file, and a hand was going towards the diary.
But we don't know. It was not necessarily leaked. It could have been, but we don't know for sure. Now, anyway, so basically they string him down, and she doesn't say what she knows about Lou Gossett Jr., claiming he did it. She goes to tell her daughter that Uncle Judd is dead. And the daughter, get this, the daughter has a floating Lego kind of platform. This Lego is floating in the air. This vast Lego structure is floating in the air. And why is the rest of the world the same? If you have a technology where a child's toy is floating, hovering in the air, where's the hovering cars? Where's the hovering buildings? If you're going to deploy this technology, it's so common, it's so easy and ubiquitous that it's in a fucking child's toy. Then where the hell is the evidence of the rest of the world of this groundbreaking technology that would change civilization as we know it? Lindelof, being a dumb shit, just goes ahead and throws that in because he thinks it would be neat without thinking about the ramifications to the larger world. And so once again, we have idiocy here. Once again, we have a guy who's just tinkering around with world building without actually thinking that you have to extrapolate when you world build from little things out to big things, or vice versa. But you can't have something revolutionary in a kid's room and not have any evidence of it out in the real world. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. And by the way, this is the last panel of Watchmen right there. He's not touching it.
He
does not pick up the Rorschach journal. Well, we don't know. We assume he does. He doesn't touch it at the end. Just wanted to point that out. A lot of people.
I mean, I don't see any flying cars over there. I don't see shit. I see dirigibles. I see blimps. You know, they had the blimp kind of thing.
So we don't. Supposedly, there's a website somewhere that gives us some information, because this is this isn't a Bad Robot production, but it's from somebody of the School of Bad Robots, so they can't fit all the information inside the actual show. And I guess there's a website out there that explains why the lithium battery thing is going on. There's no technology, and apparently that's due to the lithium battery thing. Apparently it's either said they cause cancer or they actually did cause cancer. It's probably an answer we're going to get later, but that's why there's no cell phones, no internet. They're still using newspapers, but they have hybrid cars. They have, like you just said, they have that amazing floating Lego Tinker Toy set. They have pretty badass holograms. But it's that stuff that requires the briefest of explanation. That's it. But they withhold it on purpose. So I've said mystery box. Mystery box. So they dump the information on you at the end, so they don't have to explain any of it, but it sounds like it's really profound because you just got a bunch. And plus they put way too much in this episode. There was so much going on, but nothing. So they did a hooded, I mean, we'll get to that, but they did that.
Yeah, the next thing was the American Hero story that they gave a big send up on, like a disclaimer. It's rated X with, MLV and all the S and, everything good in the world.
It's got misogyny in it.
Right. Misogyny and violence and sex and racism and, all this stuff. And really it was so lame. I mean, it was really tame, just very standard, hooded justice basically breaks up a robbery in the past in a corner store and bashes people's brains in and stuff. But even that is like very tame in terms of the violence, Gary. I was pretty dismayed and bored. It was at least better than what was going on in the rest of the episode, but it was pretty lame. I mean,
yeah. And it's got some deeper meaning, and of course we know that hooded justice, his whole costume, it was just, I think it was just there for foreshadowing Judd's costume. So
maybe Maybe so. Although it had nothing to do with it. So yeah, we see this excerpt from the TV that is what the show maybe could have been a little more if it was actually Watchmen. Kind of was a bad idea because it reminded us of what Watchmen was like. Yep. And if people are missing Watchmen, which presumably they would be, they'd be more disappointed in this crap. So in a nutshell, it cuts to Night Whammon going to the wake, to Judd's wake at his house. She feigns the vapors as only a Southern woman can. She feigns the vapors and gets put into a spare bedroom while the rest of the wake continues. So she puts on X-ray specs, which again, why didn't we see? I mean, did we see X-ray specs in the raid in that compound in the first episode?
Oh, I can't remember.
I don't think we did. I didn't notice it.
But they were the owl glasses. So apparently they have night owl technology, and it's been passed out to the cops and mass produced.
I guess so. Okay. But we're going to go ahead and she sees through the walls, and she finds Judd's clan cave, to the clan cave. And then he's got, the outfit in there and everything else. And as she's leaving the clan cave, we see a painting of Comanches being massacred, just to remind people, white men are assholes. Yes, she every frame of this thing is woke. It's just every single frame. It's got to be drilled into our heads, just about the injustices of history, which exist.
And they focused on that for a good,
I know,
couple beats.
Oh, they zoomed in on it.
Yep.
And so so now she knows that Judd was a racist, as we knew it. So this was a big part of the episode spent showing us something we already fucking knew.
Yep.
And then it cuts to Ozymandias, or Ozymandias's kid, or I don't know, a robot that thinks he's Ozymandias. Yep. I don't know what's going on with that. He takes a tomato off of his tomato tree and squishes it. The robots give him the same cake again. I assume they're either robots or they're clones. Okay, they're either robots or they're clones.
Yep.
And they do his play, in which they are basically reenacting, for some stupid reason, just because, I guess, I don't know why, a mind like Ozymandias or Ozymandias' kid, he just seems insane. But basically he does the Watchman's son or something, and it's basically recreating the accident that turned the guy into Dr. Manhattan. Okay. And so they're acting it out, and into acting it out of it, when he gets put into the intrinsic field, and it sets on fire, it actually sets the guy on fire, burns him to death. And then lowering from the ceiling, we have Dr. Manhattan. Lo, behold, Dr. Manhattan is made. What is the point of this play? Why would he find it interesting? Why are all these clones and robots? And then they, at the end of it, they reveal that there's tons of identical clones of the man, tons of identical clones of the woman. And they pulled a burnt body out. And and at this point, I was just like, what the fuck is the point of any of this?
So Ozymandias, the smartest man alive,
right,
who walked the footsteps of Alexander the Great and emulated him and wanted to be him, has succeeded and just gone mad. Then
total bonkers.
Yeah, but he's on to another plan.
Well, he's got a trebuchet. That's the plan, I guess.
Yes. And he had another anniversary, so we're not in the same timeline, obviously. As
well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that he doesn't do this every single night.
Or well, that's, you know what? That's a good point.
I don't know. It's an anniversary of anything. I think he just does it every fucking night. And he talked already about, like, tonight, I want to see real tears from the woman when he gets immolated. So they're burning a new body every night and then putting him down in the basement. That's my interpretation anyway.
Yeah, that's good. I agree with that. And they're going to use the bodies later for some plan that has something to do with watches. There was a lot of close-ups on clocks.
Yes.
just to remind us all that this is Watchmen.
Yeah. And so it concludes with her finding out Night Woman, who I also call Bat Ass. I also call her Bat Ass because she's a badass and she's kind of Batman-y, so she's Bat Ass.
Yes.
And she finds out that she's his granddaughter. And so she says, at that point, I'm going to arrest you or something. Was she arresting him? She was putting him in a car. And then lo and behold, he said he had friends in high places and wasn't worried. And lo and behold, there's a light in the sky and a big magnet like drops on the car and carries him away.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And she speaks for the audience and says, what the F? Okay.
Thanks. And that was the episode. That's what happened in the episode.
Oh, but it's so mysterious. It's a box of mystery.
Oh, I just so don't give a shit. I am so bored. I'm sickened at the misuse of imagery from Watchmen, the abuse of Rorschach, the abuse of Dr. Manhattan, the abuse of watch imagery that has not a fucking thing to do with any of this. And I believe it was Atticus X in the chat that was saying something about he's got a friend that's working on the show who says that there's a big payoff. Well, that's not what your HBO folks are saying, Gary. What are they saying? Are they saying there's a big payoff and patients will be rewarded?
No. I'm hearing, well, it tested horribly, but they knew it would play well to critics, like I said. And well, absolutely. And it doesn't look like Candace sent this to us. It doesn't look like Lindelof. He might not be around for season. If there's a season 2 right now, it's one and done. They said this is supposed to act as like one season of television. I can guess the payoff is going to be something to do with Dr. Manhattan. Like, this is the world he went off and created. Like I said before,
why would he create such a shitty world?
I don't know.
And why would it so closely resemble ours? If he's going to create a world, you'd think it would be a different world.
Maybe
interesting.
Maybe he's working it out, He just like his 19th time. And he's like, I'm getting there. I haven't quite worked out the whole thing yet. God. But maybe the world is just Tulsa. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But we have no idea where Ozymandias is.
He's on an estate.
He's on an estate. He's writing and he's by himself. And that's it.
A whole bunch of clones. I think they're organic because they did burn up. So I think they're like clones, but they're like programmed clones. Yeah. I don't know.
It basically we'll the audience will decide if there's a big payoff.
Yes. I tell you what.
Certainly they're leading to it. They're leading to something. I'm pretty sure that the 7th Cavalry is like a red herring. It's way too obvious, but they're being used pretty heavy-handedly at first, but they're obviously, pawns of some greater scheme that I'm not too sure I care about.
I don't care about this show. I am bored with it. I'm noting down all these details. I've got pages and pages of notes. I kind of gave you all the Cliff Notes version because I don't want to bore the hell out of you. But, they go into Nixonville and they threaten to tear down their Nixon and they're trying to get information about what happened.
Yeah.
And here's the level of detail on this piece of shit show.
By the way, we're going to tear down your Nixon.
Right.
If you don't come out because we know one of you killed Judd. And all they do is sit there and spit and sit in their little folding chairs. And then the cops go beat the crap out of them. And
Nicholas Horton has a good observation in the chat. He says the girl's floating Lego building is Ozymandias' mansion castle home.
It kind of looked like it.
And so also the so-called Pueblo that Dr. Manhattan was building on Mars was also like Ozymandias' mansion castle home. Now that I think about it.
Yep.
In miniature, it looks pretty boring. But I think that's right. So basically she's building Ozymandias' mansion. Dr. Manhattan is building Ozymandias' mansion. So I think Ozymandias is basically engineering all of this shit. I think this is like his like story. Maybe the world's destructed, you know. Maybe he's you know, gone mad because his plan went wrong, and the nukes happened anyway, and this is some kind of weird simulation or some shit that he's the ultimate god of. I don't know. You think that's something like
I think yes. I think we're gonna something like that is gonna go down, possibly.
But it is it's a fundamental perversion of Watchmen. Okay, it does not have the feel of Watchmen. It does not have any of the details of Watchmen. It certainly doesn't have the level of excellence of Watchmen. It's Watchmen in name only. It's basically plowing over what Watchmen was and putting up this kind of rickety prefab kind of a mind fuck. It's like a mystery box, you know, Christmas present of Watchmen. And I think it's just going to be obscene.
It's a great example of talent versus hack. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, again, it's very ambitious to take on some of Alan Moore's work, but you better bring something to the table instead of your basic old mystery box stuff. And you know what? Watchmen's one of my favorite graphic novels too. I don't think I can make a sequel to it. I'm not going to try.
I would never do that. Like Casablanca. I don't want a sequel to Casablanca.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know, DC going down the wrong road again. They take one step forward and 5 steps back. That's DC for you. Yeah, but the biggest problem with this is, and I talked about this with you in the beginning is you know, Watchmen, Alan Moore's Watchmen's absurd. It's absurd. It's satire. It's definitely got a little bit of I'm blanking on the name now. Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove. It's got a Dr. Strangelove vibe to it, but it also, there is some humanity in there. But this feels like it's an attempt to make Watchmen, and then they put that basic biatch HBO CW drama in there. My favorite part was when the husband asked if are we safe?
Are we safe? Are we safe?
Yeah,
it was pathetic. I think I'm just, I don't know. I think I don't trust Lindelof. I don't trust Coos. I don't trust any of the people that did Lost. I think that this thing is boring. I don't care about anything or anyone that is happening. And that's bad television. It's just straight up bad. I am not intrigued. I'm not intrigued in the slightest. I'm watching this as an obligation, and I'm suffering. And I'm angry and I'm disgusted. So you know, and we'll get to, I tell you what, let's read some super chats, and then let's go ahead and go into that article. We've got actually 2 articles, the one that you got, and then this other one from Esquire, from our good friend Mr. Miller at Esquire.
Yeah, you're familiar
that's slamming us about our opinions about Wokeman. So why don't let's look at some of these super chats, and then we'll get to those.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. Michael Maloney with a $2 super chat says, "Hail Doomcock, check Patreon when you can." Thank you, Michael Maloney, for that super chat. And I will, sir. I've been suffering the torments of the damned trying to put these Legionnaire packets together. It's driving me nuts. The fucking printer issues, but I've already ranted about that. I'm not going to do it tonight. D. Oberg with a $5 super chat. Hello, Douglas, who says, thoughts on the Bloodshot trailer and the upcoming Valiant Comics cinematic universe. I have not seen the Bloodshot trailer. Gary, have you?
I did.
What do you think?
Didn't look like Bloodshot to me, but you know, I was expecting, you know, for him to look like Bloodshot, and maybe he does at some point in the film. But it was all right. I mean, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't seen it. I'm sorry, Douglas. I can't comment on it. I'd like to see Valiant Comics done well. You know, God knows. I mean, now that Marvel is going down the toilet, I absolutely think that would be a wonderful thing to fill a vacuum. You know, and of course DC was starting to get off to a fine you know, start here with Aquaman and Shazam and then Joker, but Jar Jar Abrams is going in there. Kiss DC goodbye. So So there you go. Thank you, D. Oberg. Illuminati with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Illuminati. Says, hail to the Inquisition. Long have I waited. The wait is over, my friend. We suffer so that you don't have to. You can follow Wokeman without watching Wokeman, and we'll fill you in on whatever little surprises that they're going to try to throw at us. Watchmen was not like a Twilight Zone episode. Watchmen was something that unraveled with a relentless logic and an internal consistency that was nothing short of brilliant. And, now we've got Lindelof, who's putting all of his eggs into a surprise mystery box basket that nobody wants, and it's going to just be pathetic. So that's really one of my key objections to this shit. Thank you, Illuminati. Bird of Prey 5 with a $2 super chat. Hail, my friend. He says, Kapla. I'll be asleep, but we'll listen in the morning. Excellent, Bird of Prey 5. Thank you so much, my friend. Don't watch Wokeman. Don't. It will hurt you, sir. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead with a $4.99 super chat. Sir Ruin, thank you. He says, you too should watch his Dark Materials. It comes out on Monday, November 4th on HBO. It is made by the BBC. It should be better than Watchmen. Well, God, I hope so. I wonder, it comes out Monday. So I don't know, we might have to see how Batwoman works out this week.
Yeah.
It got people watch or not.
Yeah. It got more episodes for season 1, but it hasn't gotten the season 2 order.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we may shift away from Batwoman and just do Wokeman and his Dark Materials in one swoop.
To be honest with you, I'd be fine with that.
We'll do Batwoman tonight. Since I've already suffered, so you have to suffer.
Yes, I did. I can't leave you hanging, buddy.
Yeah, leave me hanging. What the fuck? That would be bad. Thank you, Sir Ruin of House Roundhead. We will watch his Dark Materials, and we will report back on that. We'll put that in the Inquisition as well. Scott Hudson, $2 super chat. Thank you, Scott. He says, I never knew I needed to low jack the OG Star Wars. Yeah, well, sorry,
that just hit me. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I
know, dude.
What's happening to Star Wars is what's happened to Watchmen. It's what's happened to Doctor Who. It's what's happened to Star Trek. It's these things have been hijacked by people who have no business touching genre. We were a special niche little thing, and we were special when we were a niche little thing. But now the basic bitches in Hollywood have gotten their hands on our stuff. They ruin it, and then when we complain, they make it in such a way so they can frame us as the worst things in life. And we'll get to that in the article.
We are going to get to that. Thank you, Scott, very much. Mike Neiman with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Mike. He says, hail Doomcock and shun the heretics. Well, that's what we're doing. We're doing this every Sunday on the Inquisition. And man, we're just swamped with TV already, and more is coming. So
a lot more is coming. Yeah,
this Batwoman thing is a problem, but we're dealing with it. Thank you, Mike Neiman. Psycho Dwarf 9 with a $2 super chat. Hail Psycho Dwarf 9, who says banana yellow Zorro suit. Here I am. Banana yellow Zorro suit. Here I am. Yam. Thank you, Psycho Dwarf 9. A little Halloween humor there. From our own Legionnaire, Psycho Dwarf 9. Eric Hawk with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Eric. Legionnaire Eric Hawk says the real Dr. Manhattan should tap this show's head. Yes. The real Dr. Manhattan ought to make this thing vanish from sight.
My favorite interaction was when Nightwoman was in the car talking to Party Balloon, and she called him a cold MF. You're a cold MFer. And he's all, and why am I crying under this mask? I'm like, oh my God.
How do we know you are? You sure don't sound like it, asshole.
It was cringy.
And he's got that weird, creepy whistle. Like when he talks, he's got that little whistle. I can't do it. I've never been able to do that. I think it's probably a blessing, but it's
just a little whistle right here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
It's
going on.
fucking what the. I've never been able to do that because I can't whistle at all. So there you go.
You can't.
No, I've never been able to whistle.
I can't do the really loud one, but Mrs. Nerdrotic can do like the cab whistle, like yeah, that one. It's impressive.
I can't do it.
But no, he.
I'm trying to whistle. Listen,
it's the same ass.
I can't whistle.
You put your lips together and blow.
And blow. Yeah, it doesn't work.
I think it's the same actor who was in the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he just is using the same accent.
God damn, he was great in that. That was awesome.
That was the first one was great.
Oh man, I thought the whole thing was really good.
I dug it.
And oddly enough, Ozymandias was in the Ballad of Buster, that movie. Because that was the poem that the armless and legless man read.
That's right.
So here we go.
Tom Waits was epic in that too. He was so good.
Oh man, the whole thing. I just thought the whole thing. That first one was just goddamn irresistible. Yep. But the whole thing, honestly, was fucking amazing.
Yep.
But we'll
check that on Netflix.
Absolutely.
Coen Brothers.
It really is fantastic. Thank you, Eric Hawk. Mr. Gently Benevolent, one of my new Legionnaires and an Australian Legionnaire to boot with a $2 Australian super chat. Thank you, Mr. Gently Benevolent. He says, "Hail Doomcock, hail Gary. May the force be with you." Thank you, Mr. Gently Benevolent. You put like little icons there, little emojis, but I can't see them for some reason. I don't know why. It's just little squares. So I say, may the squares be with you.
Good day, Bruce.
Good day, Mr. Gently Benevolent. Thank you, sir. Nicholas Horton with a £5 super chat. Thank you, Nicholas. He says, "Hail Doomcock and Gary, watching episode 2 now." Why? Why, Nicholas? He says he's watching episode 2 now while watching the stream. It premieres at 2 a.m. UK time. We're trying to warn you to stay away, man.
We're like commentary at this point. That's cool.
Good God. Well, we're live. Yeah, we're live commentary.
Why is what I was asking myself many times throughout the show. Like, why am I watching this? Why is this happening? Why did this get made? Why did somebody pay somebody else to do this?
It's like watching Sunday nights is the perfect way to self-exorcise. I think if you suspect that you are possessed by a demon, folks, just sit your ass down and watch Batwoman, and then turn it right on to Wokeman, and that thing is just gonna say, "I'm out. It's just gonna." The power of Christ compels you. Well, actually, Wokeman and Batwoman will get rid of demons just as efficiently. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Yep. Big Red Bullfrog with a €2 super chat. Big Red Bullfrog, I need you to send me what ministry you want to run and what name you want on your card, please. Because you haven't sent me that yet. And Big Red Bullfrog says, "Hail Overlord, 100,000 by 2020. Stay vigilant. Croak." Thank you, Big Red Bullfrog, and hail Legionnaire, Big Red Bullfrog. Nicholas Horton with a £2 super chat again says, "Gary, a blank for the Doctor Who car video." It's an emoji I can't read. So
okay. Okay.
He's saying something for the Doctor Who card video. I think he's giving applause or something.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. My first car video I posted today on Nerdrotic Live. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It was actually pretty easy to make. I can see why Jeremy does them.
I see. Well,
I spend hours. I'm like working on a video for sometime next week, and spent hours on it. But then I took a break and did the car video in like 10 minutes. But I was plenty pissed by that article.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna get to that, and you guys will be pissed off too, because once again, Esquire.com is calling us racists, and you'll see. It's just fucking delightful.
Yeah.
Where was I? It jumped on me. Sorry. Lori Roberts with a $5 super chat. Hail Legionnaire Lori Roberts, the high priestess of the cult of Harvey, who says, "Harvey in DC, did you know that our very own Stone Loki has his own YouTube channel? It's really good. Check it out. I did not know." Stone Loki, I will check it out. I will subscribe. Yep. I will like. Hail Stone Loki. a great YouTuber now, and a Legionnaire and a friend. He's been a great friend to me and to the channel. Thank you, Stone Loki, and thank you, Lori Roberts, for calling that to my attention. Yeah, you guys need to let me know these things and send me links and nag me, because like I'm completely overwhelmed. Completely overwhelmed. Completely, totally overwhelmed. So please, if I don't respond, you got to get back to me. Things drop all the time. I'm frustrated. The King of Scotland with a $5 super chat. Thank you, King of Scotland, who says, would you rewatch Man of Steel and do a review of it? I love that film so much. Please give it another chance and give your thoughts, my lord. Well, I tell you, honestly, King of Scotland, I don't know, Gary. I mean, how many people would watch a review of Man of Steel at this point, do you think?
Probably not many, but it'd be, I don't know. From you, though, you could definitely put it on the Harvey channel. I think.
Yeah, I could do it on the Harvey channel.
It's kind of a good thing to have that alternate channel. You can do little willy-nilly stuff.
Why jump in on my channel? Mudhole, slimy, my home this is.
Hey, you can make some wampum off the 200 views. Like
yeah,
3 cents.
Ooh, is that a lot of wampum?
It's plenty wampum. Savvy, Harvey?
I'm on board.
All right, he's placated. Thank you, King of Scotland. Well, I'll think about that. I've got it. Yeah. All right, I'll look at it. Fizzanthorpe with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Fizzanthorpe. Hail. He says, Watchmen virtue signals at least every 2 minutes. It's he says it's unwatchable. That's right. Fizzanthorpe just hit the fucking nail on the head. Exactly. Watchmen virtue signals at least every 2 minutes. It's unwatchable. Thank you. You that crystallized it right there. That's what it is. It's fucking unwatchable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all the guilt, all the wokeness. I mean, there's so much wokeness in Wokeman that you can't even catch all the wokeness that's wokeifying your brain. It's ridiculous. Like you're already suffering with the goddamn museum and about the Redfordations. The Redparations, Robert Redford basically, gave reparations to slaves or so he's a president, Robert Redford. And then you lose track of not bat ass Night Woman, who is like beating up this guy who's like twice her size. Just beating the shit out of him, and then she gets him on the ground. She punches him and punches him and punches him and punches him and punches him, and he's a bloody mess. And then she gets in the car, and her hands are totally clean. She doesn't have a bruise on her knuckles. It's just completely because he
was a foot taller than her too.
Yeah,
I got a screen grab of it, and the scene where she has to flip him over, he has to help her, and you can see it. It's always it's just awful. But then immediately you'll get like some like little shot about injustices to people of color in the past or indigenous people over and over. You'll how much superior women are. I mean, it's just you can't even keep track of it. But that absolutely is correct, Fizzanthorpe. You've nailed it on the fucking head in a very succinct way. That is really the kind of the problem with it. And I tell you, Esquire.com, Mr. Miller, talking at us like we're racist or sexist or something. I just want them to stop fucking trying to ram ideology and wokeness and political crap down my fucking throat when I just want to watch something for fun. Yes.
Or to be inspired, to be uplifted. With stories about where the artistic content is so brilliant. That's what kills me about Watchmen, is it's just so fucking brilliant. It breaks your heart how smart Alan Moore is, how smart it is, how consistent the characters are, how funny it is, how dark it is, how internally consistent it is. That is a fucking world. And I can't see that shit in this. They absolutely subordinate story and character and anything noble about the art of cinema to propaganda and wokeness. And that is it right there. Right there. He nails it. God damn it.
Yep.
And I've been like getting into the details, the weeds with all this shit right here. All these notes right here I got in front of my fucking paper. And it's like, that's it. That is it in like what, 10 words? I feel ashamed. Fizzenthorpe, you fucking nailed it. You know, I've been looking at the trees and every tree and trying to nail every detail about why this sucks, but you just nailed it in just a few words. Yeah. What do you think of that?
I totally agree. It's like a pop song. It's got to have that hook. So they have to virtue signal every 10 minutes. And when we'll get
2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Yeah. It's like, it's almost like right on cue. And we'll get to this deeper in the article, but the problem with the Matt Millers of the world and what's currently going on in Hollywood is they think that it's their domain now, like art and entertainment has always been the domain of the uber progressive, when it's been the domain of everyone. And my favorite part is I don't understand Watchmen, a story I've read 30 times, 40 times, that I don't understand it.
We should quote a few little the right-wing troll backlash against HBO's Watchmen is hilariously stupid. Obviously, these people never understood the original source material. Matt Miller, you're a fucking idiot. You just straight up. You don't fucking lecture me about Watchmen when I have read it and read it and read it and read it. It had nothing to fucking do. Oh, look at this. Look at this. They're talking about the far-right trolls who have taken it upon themselves to destroy any progressive ideas in modern movies or TV shows. Really? They piled on Star Wars movies that have made an effort to cast more women and people of color. Because it's not fucking Star Wars, dumb shit. They've attacked black-led superhero movies like Black Panther. No, actually, I haven't even done a review of Black Panther. I haven't even seen fucking Black Panther. The only commentary I did on Black Panther was I poked a hole in the sense of entitlement when they were actually, like, fans of Black Panther were attacking critics who dared to say anything less than stellar about Black Panther and lowered its approval from 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Do you remember that, Gary?
Yep.
That is the full extent of my commentary on Black Panther. They've harassed women who are starring in Marvel movies. Wrong. Find out when I have ever, you fucking turd, when I've ever looked through my Twitter history, it's right there. When have I ever actually gone to address Brie Larson or Kelly Marie Tran or any actor directly? When have I ever done that unless they baited us? And even then, I don't think I have. I find it, asshole. Find it.
How many fucking articles have there been, and how many have they actually cited any of their accusations? Like thrown a video up there. You know what? A couple times I've seen a tweet from anonymous whoever with 9 followers, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm sorry if somebody, I get attacked every day from anonymous person on Twitter. It's a fart and a wind to me. I don't really care if you're anonymous. Your word. I mean, I'm 50. Mean tweets do not bother me. I will use the words of Freddie Prinze Jr. They don't fucking bother me at all. I don't see them, but I never see these articles cite a video from somebody who's got anywhere above 1,000 subs on YouTube. Cite one. Get one Fandom Menace member who has ever said any of this shit. For one, again, it's not the domain of the woke. Doctor Who has never been that. Star Trek, they've had progressive ideals. They've also had ideals that aren't exclusively progressive, like racism is bad. I think we can pretty much all agree that it's bad, but thank you again for Watchmen repeating this over and over that it's bad. Okay, I knew that before I watched the show, but thank you. And being against war, You know, they call these political, you know, they've always been political. Well, yeah, Doctor Who has always been against genocide, war. He's not very fond of guns. Yeah, he's kind of a, you know, but that's not the domain of one side. This is why it's always had mass appeal. Just to let Matt know, sorry to break your narrative, bruh, but I live in San Francisco. My wife owns a hair salon. So I'm sorry. The misogyny just does not flow here. And, but if you want to go on and trying to make an argument that if you want to actually make an argument attacking our actual arguments, go and actually watch our videos instead of hearing about them or looking at a title or just making a broad assumption, and see this whole alt-right troll thing is it just exemplifies that they don't have an argument. They've never had an argument. And it's the same thing happened in that Bleeding Cool opinion piece about John Pertwee, which the Watchmen shit got mentioned, that they can't even conceive that maybe the public just doesn't like the show. Maybe they don't like the quality of the show. Maybe they're tired of all the wokeness, because we know it's superficial and fake from Hollywood. We know Hollywood's the worst place to be a moral barometer for anything. So their newfound morality lately is all due to because they got busted. They got caught. This is all repercussions of Me Too. This is the guilty husband who got caught cheating but still wants his wife around, and Hollywood's in the midst of buying everybody flowers and saying sorry over and over again.
Right.
That's it. It has nothing to do with, but somehow they try to turn this on the fandom. And the access media is a willing participant because they hate fandom too. It's a very weird relationship. Fandom mostly loves things. That's why we made you all rich. But now you want to have an adverse relationship with us. The logic escapes me a little bit, but it's usually because of your egos. You can't be wrong. And that's the one thing that will bury an actor or a writer or anybody successful, is their ego eventually. They can't just maybe consider that maybe this one time we read the tea leaves wrong. The wind's not going in the direction we thought it was. And you can't force it, by the way. Fans will choose what the fuck they want, and you can't choose your fans. And to say that Watchmen didn't appeal to everyone, left wing, right wing, center, above, below, everybody loved Watchmen who read it, who was a comic fan,
who was literate,
yes,
who appreciated literature. I mean, it's basically, it was literature. Time magazine selected Watchmen as one of the 100 greatest novels of all time. So, I mean, it's a serious piece of work. And this clown, Miller, basically says, they've harassed women who are starring in Marvel movies. They do this with racist, misogynist comments, crybaby petitions, review bombing, and with hilariously bad YouTube videos directed at journalists who call them out. You mean like this one, bitch? Right here. I just popped in a link to my video response to this guy, Mr. Miller himself, to Matt Miller, when he attacked me personally in an article.
Yep.
And I gave him the Freddie Prinze Jr. treatment. I gave Matt Miller the Plant Boy treatment. And here is the link in the chat. Go watch me slap this punk around in my literate but eviscerating way. He says it's hilariously bad. I think it hurt him. And but you judge for yourselves. You see, because I cite what he says and I refute it. Where is your refutation of my refuting, sir? You are a clown. You are a clown, and you are basically shown up by me, and you can't stand it that a mass supervillain on YouTube ran rings around you logically, Mr. Miller. And you're still salty about it. You're still saying racist, misogynist comments, crybaby petitions, review bombing, and hilariously bad YouTube videos directed at journalists who call themselves out. The only problem with that is everything you said, including calling yourself a journalist, because you're not. because journalism is supposed to deal in facts and truth. And there was nothing factual or truthful in what you said about me. And I called you out on it and you didn't like it, punk. You didn't like it.
No. And it must suck. You know, being a cultural editor at Esquire would have been a brilliant job like in the mid 80s and the mid 90s. But unfortunately, you got it when it doesn't really matter that much anymore. Esquire is a men's magazine. It's not something I've ever read, not really into fashion-y stuff. My wife showed me the Instagram, which looked like a lot of toxic masculinity on that Instagram, by the way. And she's like, this is the same person who wrote for that. I'm all, yeah. You know, he's young. I get it. You know, you got $300,000 in student loans probably. And your daddy still got you the job. Not really sure. And yeah, a future ruler of Earth in the center of the world, and some idiot surrounded by action figures. We're getting more traction than you. It's not, you know what? At least I'll speak for myself. I would love to say it's skill. I think we're just providing a need for a large portion of the fandom who feels like they've got nowhere else to go because the access media, you just repeat yourselves over and over again. And this is just the latest example.
Yeah. Yep. It's just a goddamn disgrace. I don't know what, I don't know what to say. I mean, what else in this video, this article triggered you, sir?
Oh, just the alt-right troll. Let me pull it up here.
I'm gonna go ahead and pop in another video that I did talking to this clown as well. I think that you guys will enjoy this as well, and judge for yourself. Judge for yourselves. There we go. There's another clash I had with Mr. Miller, and yeah, he didn't really like it.
Okay, so really like it. It's what's hilarious about the sentiment of these reviews is how they fundamentally misunderstand the original Watchmen comics. These comics were deeply political. Did you know they were deeply political, Doomcock?
They had some politics in them, sure. Yeah. You know, I mean, it had an alternate history, Richard Nixon, the Vietnam War, but it was not really political. It was extrapolating what having a blue Superman would have done to our national prestige and our, you know, global dominance. It would have absolutely made us win Vietnam. It would have changed the world.
So the deranged far-right vigilante Rorschach, who was wrong in his belief in himself as the ultimate judge, jury, and executioner. Rorschach was a compelling character. He had, well, he actually came around, and at the end, he let himself die, by the way. I mean, he's just all do it.
I love how
this clown,
I love how this clown is saying, Adrian Veidt was revealed to be the villain in the end.
Yes.
Well, actually, that it can be also argued that he ultimately the hero because he saved the world, that his plan worked. So you don't understand, Mr. Miller, because you don't understand moral ambiguity and you don't have any poetry in your soul and you don't have any understanding of literature. You want to go ahead and say he was the villain. Was he the bad guy, Mr. Miller? Was he really? Was he the bad guy because he killed like a bunch of people in New York to save the fucking world and unite them to stop the coming nuclear holocaust that was pending? But you've passed your judgment, your simplistic judgment. And then he further says, the deranged far-right vigilante Rorschach was also wrong in his belief in himself as the ultimate judge, jury, and executioner. Well, what the fuck does that mean? When he says he was wrong in his belief of himself as the ultimate judge, jury, and executioner, well, he kind of was. I mean, he did judge, he was a jury, and he did execute people. What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does Miller? What the fuck is Miller? Explain to me what he means by that.
I'm trying to get my head around it. So
it sounds like gibberish.
Well, it is. So he was saying at the end, Rorschach had realized that what his whole life was a lie. actually, what he wrote in his journal at the end was, "I've got no regrets, man. I'm on my final mission. I'm probably not going to come back, and the truth has to get out there." And
see, the thing that this worthless moron Miller doesn't understand is because he's got no poetry in his soul. He doesn't understand art. The thing about Rorschach that makes him so compelling from a writing standpoint, from the standpoint of art, is not that he was right-wing, that he was deranged, not even that he was a vigilante. The thing that was so compelling about Rorschach is, by God, he was a well-defined character who was extremely rigid in his beliefs, whatever they were, and he was willing to die for them.
In the words of Alan Moore, moral integrity.
He had moral integrity, even if he was deranged, even if he was brutal, even if he was outside the law and a murderer. He had a moral code, and it was fascinating watching him maneuver these shades of gray, this rectitude that was some could view as abhorrent and evil, and others could view as admirable. He was the only one that would not accept what Ozymandias had done, the murdering of all those people. He was crying at the end. He would rather die.
And he let himself die. He could have gone along with the plan, and he said, "Do it, kill me," because there's no way if you let me go, I'm gonna freaking rat you all out. Chances are he wouldn't have made it, but he knew that. He knew that going in. He also knew he was damaged. Okay. And that was part of his journey. And the whole point it was a superhero story, folks. It had a lot of political, it had the political backdrop, and certainly Alan Moore wanted to make his points. And, I don't know if everybody caught all the points Alan Moore, I don't know if, Alan Moore even intended, especially with, Silk Spectre's revelation on Mars and how beautiful life can be despite where it comes from. I think that sends a message that wouldn't be a very progressive one. If you think about it, there's a lot of stuff. There's so much in there. And I was, listening to a lot of Alan Moore interviews prior to one of my videos, and that's where he talked about the moral integrity of Rorschach, and that he based him on Steve Ditko. Steve, and he's got Steve Ditko's politics, which is funny. This guy is an idiot.
Mm-hmm. He's talking about Damon Lindelof's Watchmen is equally critical of both sides of the political spectrum. Really? Showing how liberal legislation can be ineffective against the cancer that is white supremacy. The scene where strict gun control fails a police officer is a particularly biting critique. It's not strict gun control. It's the fact, idiot, that someone in the police department was a white supremacist and actually purposely refused to release the gun so that he would get killed. I mean, that's what happened. It's a strict gun control. What the fuck are you talking about? And I love, he says here in this thing, in the original comics, the great evil that could not be stopped by masked vigilantes was nuclear war. Really? I thought they stopped it. Gary, they stopped it, didn't they? Was there a nuclear war at the end of Watchmen that I missed and Mr. Miller saw?
Maybe that's I'm on my 30 plus times of reading it. Maybe I missed it.
Maybe those two pages were glued together or something. I don't know. Yeah. I think they did. I think the great evil that could not be stopped by masked vigilantes was nuclear war, that they stopped, dumb shit.
Now, of course, it was an ambiguous end that, even Ozymandias was like, I did the right thing. Didn't I? And then, of course, nothing ever ends. But yes, they had stopped it for a time. In these two episodes, and I don't know if Matt Miller got to watch 5 or 6 prior. In these two episodes, they do have the newsstand guy say Libstapo. There are a couple of efforts to try to show the other side, but yeah, you're right. The gun being locked up, that was on purpose.
It was on purpose. It was deliberate. And And he says in Lindelof's series, that evil is white supremacy. White supremacy is something that is on the fringes of society and is underground. It is not a nuclear level threat.
And this is the most disingenuous part. It's disturbing that people find the thesis of white supremacy is bad to be a social justice warrior agenda.
Stupid bitch.
No, yeah, exactly. That's where I don't think he's that stupid to be that disingenuous. No, it's helping perpetuate that it's worse than it actually is. It certainly exists. It certainly sucks. I would love it eradicated from society like everybody else, but I'm sorry, our kids aren't doing white supremacy duck and cover drills at school. There's not roving bands of white supremacists running around the streets of San Francisco terrorizing everybody. It's not terrorizing everybody when they go to bed at night. There's a whole generation of kids who remember the day after and remember watching the news and knowing that, yeah, we were one button push away from all going extinct. That's not equal to white supremacy. There are things going on in this world that are much worse. Maybe the media allying themselves with the system. I would say that's much worse. I would say that's a real thing that's going on. The amount of actual groups of serious white supremacists running around in this country are minute. They and listen, that's still too many, but they're minute.
Yes, I agree. And he's trying to talk about Rorschach's that we're mad that Rorschach's likeness is now being used by white supremacists. That was not the thrust of his thing. I mean, the fact that he was a right-wing, far right-wing conspiracy theorist kind of a character, and they're reducing him down to some kind of white supremacist. And he never was. I mean, sure, he had the right-wing kind of disregard and disdain for immigrants. He's openly homophobic and misogynistic. Yes. But what does that got to do with white supremacy? What does that have to do with that? And he says he sends his journal to the far-right magazine, The New Frontier. Does it seem outrageous that his ideas would be co-opted by a white supremacist group? Well, first of all, you'd have to show that his diary got disseminated. You'd have to give us some kind of basis for this. And it just doesn't really hold water if you know Rorschach and you know the complexity of the character, to have him boiled down like this.
And it's probably a red herring, and they'll probably use that an excuse later. See, it didn't amount to anything, but that's not the point. Is the message it's not a subtle message, folks. We got you. And that's again part of the disingenuousness of this whole article. No, we don't think being against white supremacy is a social justice part of their agenda. Part of the social justice agenda is to try to push narratives that don't exist. That's why we're against this woke culture, because it's from a very small, extreme point of view. It's Antifa. I mean, that's it. And I see Antifa the same way I see as alt-right. I see them as a fringe part of one political sect that can be dangerous if it's in large numbers. And we've seen them commit violence in the streets. That's something we've seen in masks. And maybe Damon Lindelof is trying to show, because it's supposedly the crux of the whole thing of this series of Watchmen is supposed to be masks.
I know, which it makes no sense, dude, because this was only a thing that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So what about the rest of the world? What about the Constitution? What about, the FBI? I mean, you can't just have a police department just all of a sudden decide that they're going to go rogue and they're going to all wear masks and they're all going to do extra legal shit all over the place. Come on. It's still America.
Yep.
I mean, it's
he's trying to listen. It's basically anything right wing is racist. That's what we're
that is what they're
going
doing.
up against. And I'm like defending the right wing. I'm not right wing. So I'm not left. I'm not anything.
Exactly.
Go look at my Twitter. See how many political statements I've made in the last 7 years. None.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. It's just kind of, it's just pathetic. And I'm deeply offended by this kind of conflating. I mean, he talks about Rorschach is suspicious of immigrants. But see, Matt Miller is not a man who thinks deeply about things.
No.
Because look, what is somebody who is suspicious of immigrants? Well, probably that person might be somewhat racist, but they also might simply be nationalists. They might be like really, really, really rabid nationalists who are convinced that immigrants are coming, taking jobs, et cetera, and so on. It might not have anything to do with race. It's oversimplifying these things to make a superficial woke point. And it's not a nuanced and thoughtful presentation. It's pretty pathetic when you get right down to it.
Yeah, and Lindelof has showed in the past that nuance is not something that's really big. He's not very talented in that department.
No.
Alan Moore can write outside of himself, can write characters way outside of himself, like Rorschach, and make it compelling. And again, I think, somebody as simplistic as Matt thinks that being compelled by a character means you identify with them. And that's
right. Because it's that fundamental problem with that whole generation, which is that they think that in order for a movie to be engaging, you have to have a focus of identification in the movie. You have to see yourself on the screen because you're a narcissist who always got participation trophies and it's all me, me, me. I like movies where the characters are great. I don't ever really see myself in these movies. I identify as a human being with whoever the lead character is, be it Ellen Ripley or Sarah Connor. I'm transported in that because I have something called an imagination, and I'm not such a supreme egotist that I have to have a literal, masked supervillain on the screen to make myself feel secure and important. It's pathetic. Where's my identification in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and why do I think it's one of the greatest animated movies of all time? What am I, fucking Snow White? Am I grumpy? Am I dopey? You're an idiot. So I don't identify with Rorschach. I observe Rorschach as a character in a piece of literature, and I'm fascinated by Alan Moore playing in that very morally ambiguous playground. I think he did a masterpiece, and this guy doesn't understand it because he's looking at it through a woke lens that simplifies everything.
And again, what Alan Moore said of Rorschach is, yes, he said Rorschach is right wing. His politics are mad, but he has a fierce moral integrity.
He does, and that's the case.
Yep.
God damn it! I got some more super chats here.
Rorschach is suspicious of everybody.
He is, and I find it a violation of the source material to simplify this shit and turn it into some goddamn propaganda rather than a piece of literature. That's the problem. Jaeger Bomb with a $5 super chat. Hail Jaeger Bomb says, watch 40K's Hell's Reach. It's better than what Hollywood could come up with. It's free on YouTube. Thanks for watching crap so we don't have to. I've heard good things about Hell's Reach, 40K, and I've got to check that out, Jaeger Bomb. I'm just plowed under, but thank you for that. And you're right. It is way better. What fans do with love and less money and technique is far superior to what Hollywood does with no soul and all the money in the world. That's just straight up. And you're welcome. We watch the crap, so you don't have to. Of course, then other people are saying we're watching the crap. I don't know. It's strange. Nelson's TAS and Game Archive with a $2 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says, I may be alt-right, but I only heil DVD Doomcock. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Although I'm not alt-right or alt-left or anything. If anything, I stand for common sense and the sane, sensible middle. That's what I feel that I represent. And I can't speak for you, Gary, but I sense you kind of are the same way.
Yep.
So there you go. Admiral OF Doom with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Admiral. He says, you didn't think it could be worse than last week? Never forget Doom's undeniable rule of life, number 164. Never challenge worse. Just an observation. That should be absolutely that should be carved in stone. Never challenge worse. I have always thought that certain movies or things were the bottom, and then years later I'm like, compared to this, that thing wasn't so bad at all. It can constantly hit the bottom of the barrel. I don't know, can it ever get worse than Star Trek Discovery though?
It's close, man. It's tough. Really close.
It's tough. I don't know. Chris Stanley.
There's 3 seasons of Star Trek Discovery, and there's only 1 of this so far. God almighty. And the HBO execs know it's a dog, right? They do. I would be shocked if this gets a season 2, but it looks like Damon Lindelof wouldn't be a part of it if, according to Slash Film, Slash Film says Damon Lindelof might not return for Watchmen season 2 if there is a season 2. Internal chattering about the show was they weren't entirely happy with it. Now, I don't think did it have something to do with the narrative or overall quality? I'm guessing it's overall quality, and mainly the people who produce these shows are concerned with the cheddar. I don't know how much cheddar this thing cost, but those the Mothman paparazzi were terrible special effects. It was awful. Especially when that second one got shot down.
Oh man.
Joke.
It was so bad. God, it was, of course, not as bad. Well, you'll see. Batwoman tonight had another one of those, After Effects in the box explosions.
Nice. Awesome. At least it's funny.
It is funny. It is funny. And the blonde that she's dating now is hot. Spoiler. The blonde is hot. I'll say that. Chris Stanley with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Chris. Says this show makes the movie, which I did like, look like a masterpiece. Honestly, what were the showrunners thinking was going to happen with this show? You got me. I think that basically they thought that they were going to virtue signal their way out of any past transgressions and be the toast of Hollywood and maybe make us all wake up to a better world or something. I don't know. But I can assure you that entertainment and sound dramatic script writing was not in their minds whatsoever, Chris. Not in their minds whatsoever. And yeah, the movie is a fucking absolute master. It's Gone with the fucking Wind compared to Wokeman. No doubt about it, Chris. Even with the botched ending without the space squid, vastly superior. Wicked Mugetsu with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Wicked Mugetsu. Says, what do you guys think is going to take for all this woke trash to blow over and then make good TV series and movies? Well, I mean, they are. The Orville and The Expanse.
That's the heir apparent. I mean, know, stuff like that's going to be the heir apparent. This stuff is going to be looked at like disco was in 1986. It's just going to be laughed at. It's a mullet, it's bell bottoms. It's once they figure out they don't look cool, because that's what this is all about. It's all ego. Nobody gives a shit about your agenda. They really don't, or your cause. It's all about virtue signaling. And once they realize this virtue signaling, once they realize that the audience they've been playing to, God, you'd think they'd figure this out. It doesn't buy anything. But they've been this has been happening for a long time. This has been going on for 5 or 6 years, building up to this. It doesn't end overnight. And once something big fails, I'm pretty sure Dark Fate's going to bomb.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it?
I've seen it. It's fucking bad.
Oh God.
It is beyond bad. And without any spoilers, it just completely, it does what everything else that has come out. It just destroys what came before it, if you count it as canon.
Oh God. And they're trying to say it's canon, and Cameron is involved. I mean, what the fuck?
Then I guess I don't need to watch Terminator and Terminator 2 anymore.
Yeah, I guess. Jesus Christ, that's terrible. I haven't seen it yet, so I couldn't speak to it, but oh my God.
I can find a way to get you to see it.
Yeah. God damn. Okay. Well, I'll take
Evaski's got a review engine.
Jesus God. Big Red Bullfrog with a €2 super chat. Thank you, Legionnaire. Big Red Bullfrog says, go to live chat, guys. I did. I actually did it at the start. You guys don't believe me, but it reset. I don't know. When we started when we started streaming, it reset to top chat. I did it before. I swear to God. So it's doing it to me. It's screwing me, but thank you for reminding me, Big Red Bullfrog. I appreciate that.
You know what I look forward to? Sorry. I look forward to this shit being over. I really do. I mean, it's, I just saw a notification pop up and it's like, I can't wait until I could just do lore videos on Expanse lore, or Lord of the Rings lore, or Song of Ice and Fire lore. And, you know, probably get a third of the clicks that I do now, but I'll be happy.
Right. Actually doing something, good, you know, and talking about great things.
I see a Men of the West. It's like a Lord of the Rings channel, and all he does is Lord of the Rings lore. I'm like, that looks fun.
a lot more fun. Folks, if you are enjoying the show, please lick that like button, push that like, and send a message to YouTube that you enjoy the Inquisition, because we certainly enjoy you, and thank you for being here on Sunday nights. Every Sunday night we are here dissecting the significant pop culture events of the week. Dixon Cider with a $2 super chat says, I watch TV and movies to escape this nonsense.
Right.
Well, yeah, they're cutting off our avenues of escape. They're trying to brainwash us. They're basically putting us into the chair in Clockwork Orange and gluing our eyelids open and hoping that we won't turn anywhere or see anything that they don't want us to see. That's why I say watch old movies.
Yeah.
You know, watch Japanese anime. Watch things that
read old comics
they can't touch. Yeah, read the past. You know,
watch the live stream. That's what I do. I mean, quite frankly, YouTube has become my go-to for entertainment. I go watch it as somebody else's live stream or their videos, and that's what I'm doing most of the time. It's way more entertaining.
Absolutely. You're quite right, sir. You are quite right. Drake is 6 with a $2 super chat. Thank you. Drake is 6 says the Wokeman is full of dingleberries. No doubt. No doubt. They really are.
Right.
Dingleberries of wokeness. Daniel Thurs with a $5 super chat and a raccoon says, could this story be the Marooned of Watchmen in the 2010s? End with a kid reading a comic in a totally different world? Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you suspect something along those lines is going to happen, Gary.
Yeah. I honestly, I didn't notice this at first, and I'm forgetting the guy's name. Candace shot me. I think it was Candace shot me the video, and I watched it, and he did a Preston Jacobs like breakdown of it, and he caught that there is in the classroom, there's like 4 globes in there for some reason in one shot, and then the previous shot there's the solar system, and it's multiple planets, so it's got like 2 Saturns, 2 Mars, 2 Earths. And I mean, they don't put that stuff in there by accident. And there was a lot of 9/11 symbolism for some reason, which I'm guessing is that's basically the event at New York that Ozymandias constructed was kind of like this world's 9/11, which again would have made a lot more sense if you had made the Rorschach Gang more of a conspiracy YouTube InfoWars type of channel. That would totally work. But they had to take it that one step further for political reasons.
Right.
For that's it. God.
It would have been a much more interesting commentary on our current world if it had been exactly what you said. like, a bunch of, Alex Jones kind of, Rorschach masked YouTubers that are, kind of like a QAnon or, InfoWars, and they're kind of going in all these conspiracy theories. And also, God, it would have been great if the conspiracy theories are, was the alien space squid real? Was it a government psyop? You know what I mean? Like unraveling the good that Ozymandias did, arguably, by thwarting this world. But, they're tumbling, like saying that this is, a conspiracy theory, that this is a fake, that this is not real, and being hunted down by, government officials who don't want this to get out. And I mean, it could have been interesting.
Yeah. And if you want to, okay, I'm trying to look at this objectively. If you want to take the story seriously, it's hard for me to take a white supremacist group that looks like they don't bathe very much seriously in this world. I don't know how they would be a threat to anyone. I don't know how they figured out how to kill 40 cops. I don't know how the cops didn't just wipe that whole thing out, or I mean, that's what would have happened in a real world, that place wouldn't exist. The verisimilitude sucks in this. All right. It's hard to buy it. That's the biggest problem I have with it. So
I agree with you 100%. Eco What with a $2 super chat has a good point here. He says, I think Ozymandias is really Dr. Manhattan on another planet. Well, why would he assume the guise of Ozymandias then, Eco What? I mean,
he can't. Well, they say he can't change into other people. He can't change his look.
Why would he want to, though?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they say. I mean, they could always change that if they want. And I don't know why he'd want to. He was totally disassociated. His whole arc was, I'm disassociated from humans, and then I reconnected with one, and then at the end I saw, he saw the plan and said, F this, I don't even want to be around you anymore. I'm gonna go create a new life. Yep,
absolutely. And I've got a hilarious just a chat here. Semantic Dragon in the chat says, if I had been there when someone pitched Space Horses, I'd have said nay.
Yes.
Nay.
Oh,
Jesus God.
That was not that I was into the trailer, but that was the moment. I'm like, that's where Star Wars is like really official. It was on hospice, it was in hospice. It had just weeks to live.
Yeah.
And I saw the Space Horses, and that was it. I mean,
the Space Horses were there, and McCoy said, he's alive, Jim, but his brain is gone. Dun, dun, dun. Star Wars is Spock's brain at this point. It's an episode of Spock's brain, and they're walking it around with a remote control operated by a baboon named Jar Jar Abrams, and it's brain dead. It's just gone. It's gone.
Misa got Spock's brain.
Misa got Spock's brain. Muy logic.
Criminal Imagination with a $5 Canadian super chat says, the real reason is Rorschach is popular. So we as a collective hive mind must ruin the popular character to make the newbies look better.
Exactly. That's what I said in my video. Is the new thing to do now is to assassinate the characters that people love, especially those straight white males.
Oh, of course, because we're so bad.
And that's the only way you can build up your new characters. It's not just, if this was about bringing in new characters, it'd be very easy to do. Rorschach's dead. You don't mention him ever again. Or you can, say, hey, there was this journal or something. And then you just introduce your new character played by Regina King, and you build this character up. You give this character a life of its own, a believable one, and you try to make it as much as you can like a Watchmen character, which is deeply flawed. They all are. And
yes, they are. That was why they were so human. That's why they're so interesting, as opposed to Mikey, Spock, or Ray, the Amazing Wonder Ray, who are the bestest ever. But, and everyone thinks so.
You're right. And listen, this is how they're going to say it. So I'm going to use a term from your boy Zach from Diversity in Comics Matter that he relates to when they write these characters, especially when white men write characters that are not white. They feel constrained. So they always write this just basic soulful saint. That's what she is. She's a soulful saint. So her flaws will be trusting a man, or that's her flaws. So let's say she's got flaws. She trusted a man.
Right. Or she had the, heterosexual whammon, right? I mean, how long before they start attacking whammon in movies for being heterosexual?
Well,
shouldn't they all be gay?
Terminator.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if you guys don't care, well, I mean, Doomcock's going to probably do a review. I don't want to speak for you. I'm going to do one. There's a couple out there that are very good.
On which movie?
On Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah.
There's some really good ones.
I need to see it. I just haven't had a chance.
I'll get you this week. It comes out. It premieres on Halloween night, which they didn't really think that one through, did they? People will be out trick or treating,
right?
It performed below expectations in Europe, way below expectations.
Good.
So
good. I'm glad. As Chris Stanley says with a $2 super chat, the real shame is they won't cancel this show yet. Well, I mean, that's not how it works. I mean, they've made the 9 episodes. They're going to air them come hell or high water. I mean, they spent.
If it gets good ratings, they'll probably give it a second season. They need something. They're in the post Game of Thrones era, and luckily it's the streaming wars. So there's a lot of consolidation going on. But if there was no streaming wars, HBO would be in deep shit right now, because stockholders, the only thing they look at is bottom line, and they're going to go, why didn't you do as well this year as you did the last year Game of Thrones aired? And then the people who own the franchise go, well, Game of Thrones was this big special thing. And the stockholders go, I don't care. Why didn't you do as well this year as you did last year? It's a problem with, trying to monetize entertainment and creativity. You can't really just cookie cutter that shit out.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Atticus X with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Atticus. Atticus is the one who was saying that he has a friend who says there's a big payoff coming with the end of Watchmen. He says, I agree that the politics are unnecessary and on the nose, but what about the show do you like? For me, the score, acting, and world building is well done. Well,
the world building's horrible. I think it's utterly terrible.
I think it's bad.
The music is very good. The
score is interesting. It's weird. It's almost like, I don't know. It feels, I want to say retro. I want to say kind of 80s, melodramatic,
very Stranger Things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so I like the score and the acting. Well, I mean, there's nothing really wrong with the acting per se. It's the script. I mean, the actors are doing what they can do.
Jeremy Irons is awesome in everything he does. He's an actor. He's like a true thespian. So but his scenes, I don't know what to make of them. There's no context for them other than we don't even know his goddamn name after 2 episodes. Now, take that mystery box and shove it where the sun don't shine. You need to know your character's name within a couple episodes. That's not edgy. That's not avant-garde storytelling. It's bad storytelling.
No, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Brother Malachi with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Brother Malachi, for that generous donation. And he says, Watchmen Chapter 8. The new frontiersman political cartoon at the end is borderline bigoted, has bad stereotypes of Jews, Italians, and Russians. Still not a case to stereotype Rorschach himself, but it's still there. But again, I see what you're saying, but Alan Moore has no fondness for the right. But I will say that again, to stereotype Rorschach, to basically they've made this whole fucking universe based on a misreading of Rorschach's character. I mean, the whole like Seventh Cavalry, what was did Rorschach have a Confederate credit card? I mean, was he going around? He wasn't.
If Rorschach was going to be racist to a group, it wouldn't have been the black people wouldn't have been his first choice. I'll just say that. If he identifies with the New Frontiersmen, that doesn't define him as the character. It certainly was Alan Moore's view of what the extreme far right was.
Right.
But it's still, making it a flat out white supremacist organization is still a giant leap for Rorschach's character.
It is. I don't feel it comes logically extrapolated from what Moore did. And it just seems so small in comparison to the grandness that was Watchmen. It's just not the same thing as nuclear Armageddon. But yeah. And also,
it's like you said before, they just took it to the basic level. Alan Moore really wouldn't have done that. The New Frontier here, I can even break it out. I got it right in front of me. Oh.
Yeah.
It was to give context to what they are, but still, the thing is, the story ended with them getting the truth. Well, supposedly getting the truth. We don't know if they got it or not. And I think the whole point of it was that the world was fucked anyway, whether Ozymandias did that or not, and whether the bombs fell or not. So they could have done a little. They could have had added more complexity to the far right organization, which would have made it more believable.
They're not going to do that.
No,
it's just a hate group, and they don't want to actually have they don't want it to be gray. They want it to be black and white, literally. And I mean, a woke racial, race baiting kind of thing is going to be black and white by its very nature. Whereas Watchmen really was vastly, just infinite shades of gray. That was the whole point of the thing. And to simplify it, to make it like a preachy, woke kind of racism bad thing. Something so grand as this, and simplify it to that degree, is deeply offensive to me. And that's one of the reasons why I despise it so much.
Yeah.
So have you got Batwoman yet?
Yes, I do.
Maybe what I should do is keep on with some super chats, and you could go watch some Batwoman, and I'll either end this and start a new one, or you just come back.
Whatever you want to do.
What do you think? Well, we haven't discussed it. It's very tricky with this Batwoman situation. What would you like to do?
Oh, you could start a new one if you want, or if you want to keep going. Do you still have some super chats to read and stuff?
Yeah, I got a bunch here. So
I can watch it as fast as I can, and if you can, it's what, 45 minutes?
Yeah. So if I end before 45 minutes, we'll just start a new one.
Yeah.
Or we'll just continue on.
Yeah. Well, I'll ping you when I'm done.
It sounds good, brother.
All right.
I'd say enjoy, but you're not going to.
I'll see you in a bit, chat.
All right.
Woohoo! Batwoman.
Oh God, it's bad. It's a bad episode.
I'll see you.
All right. Chris G with a $11.11 super chat. Thank you, Chris G. Says, "Hail, gentlemen. Tomorrow I turn 41. Could you please ask Captain Kirk to sing for me? Also, for this Thursday's Exozone, perhaps have people send in their paranormal true experiences and read them live." Actually, we have been asking that. Folks, if you have any paranormal true experiences, send them in to us. You can send them to Nerderotic, or you can send them to me, DictorVanDoomcock@gmail.com. Now, I just want to give you guys a note about Exozone. Gary has a date on Thursday, so we are not going to be doing Exozone on Thursday. We're probably going to do it on Tuesday or Wednesday, okay? So we're going to do Exozone Tuesday or Wednesday. And the reason we were going to do it Wednesday, but then I may actually be going to the final game of the World Series if it goes to Game 7 in Houston. So we might have to do it, bump it to Tuesday. So either way, though, yeah, send in those paranormal true experiences. We'd be happy to read them online. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. And I am doing a Halloween, a split show on Halloween. I'm doing a live stream Halloween afternoon at 1 o'clock, probably 1 or 2 o'clock Central, which will be, in the evening in the UK. And I'll go for a few hours for my UK and European listeners around the world. Then I will stop and then do a Halloween show again, starting maybe about 7 o'clock in the evening Central Time for rest of my normal listeners. And that will be Friday Night Frolics on Thursday, the Halloween special edition, just to let you guys know. So it's an irregular schedule this week, but we are still delivering shows on those nights. Thank you, Chris G. Apocrypha with a $4.99 super chat. Hail Apocrypha! It says, it honestly fascinates me how hacks such as Lindelof, Abrams, and Kurtzman don't care about how bad they'll be remembered, their legacy as storytellers. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they have any inkling of how bad their stuff is. They don't care. I think they just want to make as much money as they can. And partly, I think Abrams in particular and Kurtzman want to actively spoil things, want to put their grubby little paw prints over the great art of the past. They're basically cultural vandals who are looking to profit by stripping the bones of past artworks and great artists and perverting their work like some kind of horrible artistic Genesis device that, destroys such life and reconstitutes life in favor of its new matrix, as Spock put it, roughly. Apocrypha, that is the only thing that I can even approach in terms of an explanation. I think that they're just abominable hacks, and they shouldn't be working. They should be out of business. They should be in disgrace. They should be working in, I don't know, insurance offices and, fetching coffee for actual writers and things like that. But nope, they're still there. There is no justice in the world. Cash Kester, Clan Razor with a whole bunch of space horses. Cash Kester with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Cash. Says American Hero Story is their version of American Horror Story. The things this world is afraid of. I see. Also, a couple scenes where Regina spoke. All I saw was Huey Freeman from the Boondocks. You're right. There's kind of a resemblance there. That's very interesting. Yeah. So yeah, American Hero Story is American Horror Story. So basically telling the stories of the superheroes of the past is what they view as horrific. So basically, Lindelof is admitting that he finds Watchmen, the actual Watchmen, to be a horror story, not woke enough, not concerned with little trivial things like nuclear Armageddon instead of important things like white supremacist groups, of which there's, I don't know, handfuls around the country. Yeah, right. Thank you, Cash Kester. That is, of course, not to say that white supremacy groups are not a threat and not a bad thing. It's just, we've got other pressing shit in the world. And it's just they're not running rampant in the streets. It is not a Thunderdome out there. It's not Mad Max. And this is really, for the most part, preaching to the choir. There's really nobody out that I know of. Certainly nobody in my my following or my groups that are white supremacists in the slightest. Hail Cash Kester. Admiral OF Doom with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Admiral. He says, exactly how do critics actually see what they are critiquing, having their faces shoved up Hollywood's butt all the time? Just an observation. I like your observations, Admiral OF Doom. They are generally spot the F on. Yeah, having their faces shoved up Hollywood's butt all the time. Yep. They've surrendered the intellectual high ground, and we YouTubers have seized it. Thank you, Admiral. Basil, the Pumpin' Seagull, with a $5 Canadian super chat. Thank you, Basil. Says, don't know about American Hero show, but The Greatest American Hero was an awesome series, and I loved Robert Maxwell. It was a good show. And I really love the theme song as well. Just a fun, you know what superheroes used to be, you know, little comedy, little fun, for God's sakes. You know, I mean, God knows I love the dark superheroes of, you know, the Dark Knight and, you know, Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen, you know, Miracle Man and things like that. But there's also something to be said for 66 Batman and Greatest American Hero and fun stuff like that. Where the hell is the fun? You know, Star Wars used to be a fun thing. It's gone now. There is no goddamn fun in Star Wars. Have you noticed that? The greatest loss in Star Wars is not even the destruction of canon or the destruction of the original characters or anything like it. It's just no fun at all. There isn't a single laugh. There isn't a joyous moment. It's just so dour and earnest and stilted and boring. It is crap. Thank you, Basil. Greatest American Hero. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Oh, and by the way, geez, I forgot. I got carried away. Chris G. You wanted Captain Kirk to sing happy birthday to you. I'm so sorry, Chris. Mr. Shatner, would you do the honors? Chris G. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chris G. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Happy 41st birthday, Chris G. I'm sorry I completely spaced out on the second part of that. I got distracted talking about the scheduling this week. Hail, Chris G. I hope you're still listening, brother. And I hope that you enjoyed your happy birthday. So sorry. If anyone knows Chris G, let him know I did sing for him, okay? So sorry about that. I apologize so much. Yeah, I remember fun. It says, what is the Matrix? Frowning and looking pained. Exactly. Exactly. Chris G, I hope you heard that. I hope you heard that. Doggone it. I'm so sorry. I spaced out on that. Drury Nitpicker with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Drury Nitpicker. It says, I'm getting so sick and tired of the racism tropes. Let's forget the history of Anthony Johnson. The first slave owner was a black in 1654. Yeah, we just keep hammering this stuff for woke points. I never get the feeling that they're actually trying to make anything better, really. I think they're just trying to virtue signal, and they're trying to preach, and they're trying to basically subvert our entertainment. And it's just a sad thing. Drury Nitpicker, I don't know what to say. Oh, and a happy birthday to Chris G in the chat from Atomic Half Lives Matter. Thank you, guys. Yes. Happy birthday, Chris G. Anyone out there is friends with Chris G, let him know I sang the song. And I'm so sorry that I hope he wasn't listening and say, I didn't sing it and got left. I'm so sorry. Damn it. I hate it when I screw up like that. My apologies, Chris G. God bless you, sir, and have a happy 41st birthday. Claudia Acosta says, poor Nerdrotic. How can he watch Batwoman? What about poor Doomcock? Doomcock watched Batwoman and Wokeman without any break. 2 in a row, for God's sakes. Shit. Poor Chris. Poor Gary. Poor Nerdrotic. Poor both of us. Poor both of us. Believe me, it was awful. 200 Watt Studio with a $2 super chat. Hail! 200 Watt Studio. It says, Wino, Watchman in name only. Thank you, 200 Watt Studio. Wino, Watchman in name only. I like that. That's one wine you don't want to sip from. You don't want to get addicted to that particular vintage of suck. Adam Wofford with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Adam. He says, what if it is all just taking place inside of a mountain at the South Pole and everyone is programmed clones and they went backwards and mad? Well, yeah, I mean, thank you, Hecate's daughter. I appreciate that sympathy. Yeah, you know, I think that's what I was getting at. It's like, well, what if, things went all bad and, Ozymandias is insane at the South Pole and, and kind of living in a delusion, you know. But why it would be focused so much on racism and white supremacy and crap like that, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think it would be like this. I still don't. But hail Adam Wofford. I think that's an excellent speculation. Well said, sir. Drake is 6 with a $2 super chat. Thank you. Drake is 6 says, end of Wokeman. Bobby Ewing coming out of a shower. One can only hope. Drake is 6. One can only hope. Dreary Nitpicker with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, oh dreary one, who says, as someone who has Holocaust survivors in my family, I do not expect reparations from Germany. Christ, you can't hold the generations for the past. Yes, you cannot hold current generations for this to blame for the sins of the past. I agree 100%. I think it's pathetic, this idea, this Redfordations. I mean, anyone who actually was subjected to that horror in the past, if they were still alive, well, maybe, maybe. But, there aren't really anyone in the country these days that have experienced those horrors. And no, I don't really think that reparations are due, because they would come out of someone's pockets, and the people whose pockets it would come out of are innocent. They are just innocent. I want to go here. Adam Child says, I made it. Doomcock, you're my hero, and I bend my knee to you, sir. Hail, Adam Child. I have bundled up your envelope, and I'm so sorry. All the problems I've had with printers, etc., and so on, but the mailings should go out, God willing, knock wood, tomorrow. Aaron Coleman says, Overlord DVD, this generation is 100% pathetic. The movies are ass. Most video games are ass, and my TV is getting dusty for me only using it for video games. My dad discovered how bad STD is. He cried. Wow. I am so sorry. It's enough to break a older man's heart on Star Trek. It's just old Trekkies' hearts break when they see what has been done to Gene Roddenberry's sterling vision of the future. Absolutely just tragic. Thank you, Drury Nitpicker. Larry with a $2 super chat. Hail Larry, who says, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition. Hail all, the Spanish Inquisition, Larry. Thank you, my friend. Hail to you. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. Hail all, hail Larry. Love it. Thank you, my friend. RR with a $1.99 super chat. Hail RR, who says, release the Doom Squirrel on the evil mystery box. Uh-oh. The Doom Squirrel is loose. No, Sabu. Go forth, Sabu. Attack the mystery box. Yes. Attack the mystery box. Go, Sabu. Go. Sabu has been unleashed on the evil mystery box. Hail RR. Hail to the Doom Squirrel. Basil, the Pumpin' Seagull, with a $2 Canadian super chat. Thank you, Basil. Says the Doom Squirrel is superpositioned alive. It's alive. Hail to the Doom Squirrel. Your two choices, Doom Squirrel, are alive. That's actually just position, not really superpositioned. Basil? Superpositioned would be alive and dead, not alive or alive, but maybe things work different for the Pumpin' Seagull. Maybe if you like pumping up, iron and you're a seagull, you see the universe in a different light. Maybe. Sulf Joe, my Legionnaire, Sulf Joe with a $5 super chat. Hail Sulf, who says, hail Doomcock and fellow Legionnaires. First live stream I have got to listen to in quite a while. Well, you've picked an angry, bitchy one, Sulf Joe. Fucking hate Watchmen. It's terrible, god damn it. And we're getting attacked for calling it so, for calling the Emperor has no clothes, for calling it stilted, for calling it sanctimonious, for calling it bad. They have attacked us. But Sulf Joe, we will not be deterred from our sworn duty to punish heresy wherever it is found, and Wokeman is heresy. Wokeman is heresy. When we get to the second half of this show and Gary returns, I will go ahead and pass sentence. We will pass sentence on Wokeman, episode 2, season 1, episode 2. It is certainly number 2, no doubt about it. Hail Solf Joe. Ian Alderidge with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Ian. He says, I recommend for this Halloween the 2007 Trick or Treat movie, classic alien 80s style. It is short horror stories intertwined. Really good watch. All right. 2007 Trick or Treat. I will note this. I am writing it down. I am in need of some good Halloween fun movies. And I will check it out, my friend. Thank you so much for that tip. George B.D. Lucas with a $2 super chat. Hail, George B.D. Lucas says, sorry you have to watch this. Congrats, Nerdrotic. Congratsing Nerdrotic on having to watch this shit. I had to watch it too, by the way. So thank you for your sympathy. I'm bitter. I mean, when you watch this, I watch it because I get it earlier than Gary. That's the problem. That's why we're having this scheduling difficulties and woes, is I watch the damn thing and then I immediately watch Wokeman. So I'm getting like the 1-2 punch, the 1-2 upside the head. It really sucks and it's horrible and it makes me sick. Thank you, George B.D. Lucas. Ian Alderidge with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Ian. He says, how long for my Legionnaire package? I need a dartboard. What? To shoot at my picture? Well, that's okay if you want to, Ian. I understand that. Well, let me see what's going on. I'm bundling them up. Have you actually gotten to me and sent me your name and your ministry? If you have not, please do so. Because I need that. Sometimes people say, where's my kit? And it's like, well, you haven't gotten me the information, or they sent it and I didn't get it. That also occasionally happens, I have to say. So if you would, please go ahead and get me that. I'm kind of looking to see. And also let me know if you haven't gotten anything, because sometimes the damn things get lost. So I'm looking on the list now. I am looking on the list. Well, see, now I'm kind of thinking maybe you should have had yours by now, Ian. So I don't know if something happened to it or what is going on. You're not on the list of ones to go out, but let's talk and let's get this squared away, Ian. I want to get you your stuff as soon as I possibly can. So please touch base with me and let's figure out what the hell's going on. Send me your info. Okay. If you sent it to me, I didn't get it maybe, or I sent it out like 1 or 2 batches ago and it's lost in the mail. So help me to figure out what's going on and we'll get to the bottom of it. It's driving me insane, frankly. I mean, it's just so much overhead. It's so much overhead, dude. And I trying to keep track of everything. A lot of times, I don't know what the hell's going on. So help me out, Ian. Send me a thing. Let me know what you're saying. Aditya Singh with a £5 super chat. Thank you. Aditya Singh says, hail Doomcock and Gary. I became a Legionnaire today. All hail the Inquisition. Hail Aditya Singh. Welcome to Xanadu. Thank you for being a supporter. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you being here. And I will be contacting you shortly to get your name and what ministry you want to run in the government. Thank you, Aditya Singh, and welcome to the Legion of Doomcock. Hail. John McGee with a $5 super chat. Thank you, John. Says most TV shows are unwatchable. Yes, they are. They absolutely are. And almost every CBS show is fucking unwatchable these days. Young Sheldon, Hawaii Five-0, the horrible, horrible remake of Magnum P.I., where him and Higgins are having sexual tension because Higgins is a woman. And he doesn't even have a mustache. Jesus God. What the world is coming to these days, I don't even know what to say. Sad, sad, and sorry indeed. Hail John McGee. J.E.G. Jeg with a $5 super chat. Thank you, J.E.G., who says, if you decided to review Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition, might I recommend watching Twin Peaks videos why you're wrong about Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman? People did not give Snyder a chance. I have not watched Batman vs. Superman. I heard it was wretched. And actually, I started watching Man of Steel and couldn't get past the Krypton sequence. So, but I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and watch Man of Steel since one of my Legionnaires has requested it. Oh, yeah, Lori Wilson, you didn't know there's a Magnum PI on there that's awful? Yeah, dear God, it's awful. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so bad, I won't even touch it with a 10-foot pole. I won't. Yeah, they made Higgins a woman. Yeah, you guys didn't know this, dude? And yeah, they've got a kind of a short Hispanic guy playing Magnum, and he has no mustache. Yeah, you guys didn't know that? Yes, it's woke as fuck. They actually had the first episode. He's like doing some kind of space dive, like he's in space, and he jumps off and he kind of paratroops down and he lands, and he takes off his helmet, and he's Thomas Magnum, and no mustache, short Hispanic guy. And Higgins is a woman. Yeah. You guys did not know that. Jeez. Hope I didn't make any heads explode. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. Yeah. And so, of course, I mean, I haven't watched it, but I'm assuming that, you know, because she's a woman, a British woman, and a beautiful one, then of course they have a playful sexual banter. Just wait. Just wait. You watch or don't. Please don't. It'll kill you. JEG, I will take a look at that. I will take a look at that, and I'll review Man of Steel, I guess. I'll do it for Patreon. How's that? I'll do it on Patreon. Basil, the Pumpin' Seagull, with a $5 Canadian super chat. Thank you, Basil. He says, I get the feeling Schneider really wanted to make Brightburn, but Warner Brothers forced his hand, and instead he made Man of Steel. Then Gunn beat him to the punch. Yeah, I think you're right, Basil. I think he was really kind of pulled back from making Man of Steel a really dark thing. And so instead he, they wanted Magnum to be a woman originally. You mean on the reboot, MK Fenris? Not a bot says he's got a snail trail instead of a mustache. Jesus God. It's bad. Yeah, so yeah, I think you're right, Basil. I think you're absolutely right. And yeah, I need to watch it. I'll watch it. Okay. I'll watch it and give you guys a review, you know, on Patreon, or maybe I'll put it on Harvey's channel. I don't know. I know I can't put it on my channel. It'll just die there. It'll just die. Thank you, the Pumpin' Seagull. Some nobody. Oh, I beg to differ with that, sir. With a $5 super chat. I think you're somebody, friend, but some nobody says, to the lefty dopes boosting wokeman, the graphic novel wasn't even that woke. It was mostly a critique of the idea of superheroes and heroism itself. Absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, I mean, I don't mind if there was a really great TV show examining issues of race and bigotry. I mean, well, there was one in the 70s called All in the Family. All in the Family was fantastic. I mean, it was like a weekly debate between the right and the left. And sure, Norman Lear kind of slanted it, to the left, towards Mike Stivic and Gloria, the younger generation, kind of deflating Archie Bunker's, bigotry and so on. And Archie Bunker was something of a laughable character. But as the seasons went on, I think they became real characters, and they became real family for a lot of people who were watching it, and for all of their faults, and they even showed that, Mike and Gloria had some faults as well. I mean, it was a great show. You can do great shows about anything, but you have to start from a place of respect for writing and for character. And Wokeman has no such respect. Damon Lindelof is a hack of the worst degree. He's of the bad reboot crowd. He's one of Jar Jar Abrams' unholy acolytes. And Jar Jar Abrams is the fucking cinematic antichrist. destroys every fucking thing he touches. And that's what that idiot Miller is defending. Well, you defend that. You just show you have no taste. You have no soul. You have no poetry. You don't know what makes good art. This propaganda shit, that ain't it. Thank you, some nobody. RR with $1.99 super chat. Thank you, RR says another powerfully passionate sermon of truth DVD. Thank you, sir. Yeah. I despair. I mean, it is a fucking constant barrage. It's what Gary was saying earlier. It's a constant barrage of bad bullshit and terrible news and the subversion of franchise after franchise, myth after myth for the purposes of purveying propaganda. And I hate that. It is destroying beautiful things. The gems of our civilization are art and literature. When a people's art and a people's literature are degraded and taken away, that civilization is in decline. And I fear that our civilization is in decline because these assholes that are in Hollywood are too busy trying to preach at us to elevate us. That's the difference, really, between what Wokeman does and what Watchmen did. Wokeman and Watchmen were both critiques on some level of our society, but propaganda like Wokeman punishes, it debases, and issues presented in artistic forms like Watchmen elevate. So, Wokeman debases, Watchmen elevates. It's the difference between propaganda and art. One is telling you what to think, and the other is inspiring you to think. Propaganda tells you what to think. Literature inspires you to think. And that is the difference between the two. And that is why I love Watchmen and I abhor this piece of filth masquerading as art when really it's just a bunch of preaching. The characters are flat. The situation is derivative and boring, and it's just virtue signaling, as he said, as the man said earlier, every 2 minutes. There is no artistic integrity in that telling, and that is why I despise it. Not because of white supremacy, not because of blah, 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 blah. It's because they substitute wokeness for plot. They substitute wokeness for character. They substitute wokeness for ideas. All they want to do is virtue signal and promote their agendas, instead of just presenting something literate and beautiful. Thank you, RR. Dark Star 57 with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, my Legionnaire Dark Star 57, who says, thank you, Gary and Doomcock, for expressing what we all think and feel and don't have the platform to say. You're very welcome, Dark Star 57. It is our honor, and thank you all for supporting us, letting us do this, helping us to do this, letting us do this to the full extent of our ability. You guys keep the lights on for us. You guys, your super chats, your chats, you're watching the commercials, you're spreading the word about our channels. Help us to keep going. You fund us. You give us moral support with your comments and your emails and your feedback. You feed our bodies, you feed our spirits, you lift us up. God bless you all. Thank you. We could not do this without you. Seriously. God bless you, Darkstar 57. Thank you for being one of my legionnaires at the center of the earth. Patreon.com/Doomcock, folks. That is my Patreon. Subscribestar.com/Doomcock as well. Apocrypha with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Apocrypha, says, calling Miller a clown is a huge insult to clowns. Sorry, you're quite right. Clowns make us laugh. Clowns scare us. Miller just bores us. Thank you, Apocrypha, which is a fitting since Wokeman is boring as hell itself. Why So Sidious with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Why So Sidious, who says in Amazon's The Boys season 2, Stormfront will be changed to a female, gender washed. Can you say Storm bleep? Can you say Storm bleep? Yeah. yeah, I can, but I probably shouldn't. Thank you. Why So Sidious? Stormfront will be changed to a woman. Jesus God. Well, they're doing that in the latest Dune too. I think they're turning Dr. Hewer into a woman or something like that. So one of the characters is being gender swapped as well, right? Probably race swapped as well. So much respect for source material. Thank you. Why So Sidious? Tyron Beard with a $5 Australian super chat. Hail Tyron Beard, who says, as your minister for revised epistemology and propaganda, I will acquire an original Watchmen comic with my membership card on video because Wokeman. Cheers, Tyron Beard, and thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. You are manning the outpost in the outback, pushing Doomcock far and wide, deep into Australian territory. Hail, Tyron Beard, my minister for revised epistemology and propaganda. Hail, Tyron Beard. Just saying, with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Just Saying, says Gary and Dictor. With your access to Hollywood/paid medium, do you feel nepotism is the most insidious root of this destruction of art? Yes. Yes. I think art should be a meritocracy. Straight up. Not a democracy, a meritocracy. I think the most creative people should rise to the top. I think writers, this is odd. This is like a radical notion. I know. But I think that writers should be hired to write. I think that people who are artists should be hired to do art. Directors should direct. Producers should produce. Instead of studio suits and all, like interfering in hiring their nephews and their daughters and their schoolmates and their chums. I mean, look at fucking Jar Jar Abrams. Do you know what Jar Jar Abrams' main claim to fame was? Jar Jar Abrams was Steven Spielberg's babysitter. Okay, Jar Jar Abrams' baby was Spielberg's babysitter and godson. So he's connected, and that's why he is ruining Hollywood. Thanks, Spielberg. Thanks a lot, Spielberg. You know, you're a hell of a director and you're a hell of an artist, but this fucking plague that you unleashed on all of us, on our beloved civilization, Spielberg, you owe us for that. You owe us for that. You really, really screwed us, dude. You really screwed us, and I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it at all. Hail Just Saying. Criminal Imagination with a $2 Canadian super chat. Thank you. Criminal Imagination says Miller makes Rorschach sound like Judge Dredd. Yeah, pretty much. And you know, I mean, Rorschach is just a hell of a character, a really great character, and to just dismiss Rorschach, simplify Rorschach to that extent. It's not because I love what he stood for. I share his politics or anything like that. I love a great character, and they've just completely simplified a complex character, and I find that disgusting. That's what makes me sick. Is that so much to say? Honestly. I don't know. RR with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, RR. Again, says Mr. Miller, you are a misguided nincompoop. Unleash the Doom Squirrel. Cheers to the A team of live streaming, the defenders of myth and stories. Thank you, sir. Thank you, RR. Appreciate you very, very much. Pin drop with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you. Pin drop says, I have a Rorschach tattoo. Now I'm a supremacist. According to Mr. Miller, apparently, maybe so. Maybe you're that toxic. You know, maybe you are as toxic as the most dangerous live stream on YouTube, the Inquisition. Oh, by the way, Nerdrotic has also tweeted at me while he's watching this stuff. He says, also bring up that the new frontiersman would be way more concerned with communists than anything else. Yes, the New Frontiersman, being an extreme right-wing publication of the time, was extremely concerned with communism, Russia. So they would actually be, if they wanted to be topical, they'd be going on about, you know, Russian bots and Russian infiltration and so on and so forth, instead of this white supremacist thing, which seems like it would have been, I don't know, something from the 60s. I mean, this show does not feel relevant today. It does not feel like an extension of Watchmen. It doesn't feel like it's relevant. It doesn't feel like anything. It feels like a complete goddamn waste of time. That's what it feels like. Thank you, Pin Drop. Criminal Imagination with a $20 Canadian super chat. Thank you, Criminal Imagination. Says, I just want to point out that the Twitter concept of getting ratioed is now one of horror. An article describes folks losing sleep in fear of getting the ratio, like they're going to die in 7 days. This is our life now. What the hell is the Twitter concept of getting ratioed? I've heard this lately, but I have not followed it. Can anyone in the chat explain to me what the hell is ratioed? I'm probably missing something absolutely terrible here, but what is Twitter and ratioed? I have not. I only got onto Twitter maybe about a year and a half ago. I only got on Twitter when I started my channel. So I'm other than that, I've been a stranger to social media most of my life, and I had a disdain of it. Now I love it. I mean, I think it's a comment to like ratio. Okay. I don't even think of, well, see, that's how much I think about it. More comments than likes or retweets, huh? Okay. I don't care. I honestly don't care. I don't think about it at all. Never have. So that's why I don't know what ratioed is. All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Squid versus Space Horse, Clan Razor. Now that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. Call me Ishmael. Doomcock just revealed his boomer-ishness. I am timeless, but I just don't care. I just don't give a shit. I really don't care. Semantic Dragon says ratioed, according to my recent Google search, is when people get more comments than likes or shares and thus get an indication of a negative response. I'm a super villain. I court negative responses. I don't even think about it. I don't think about it at all. Thank you, Criminal Imagination. I'm sorry for people who wake up in a cold sweat. Fear of getting ratioed. Jesus. Wow. I don't even think about it. I mean, I've had things where, you know, I get a bunch of dislikes. I've had to like mean comments on every video I've done. I get attacked on a daily basis. It just washes off me like water off a duck's ass. I just literally do not care. But see, the thing is, when I notice, ask Plant Boy over at Adverse, right? Old Plant Boy. What happens when I do notice? And when I decide to respond, it hurts. It hurts. Mr. Miller apparently was hurt by my previous video because he mentions it. Alas, sir. Did I draw blood? That you're still paying attention to me and watching me. I think it's fascinating. Maybe I'll send him another goddamn, little video Valentine straight from my heart. Thank you, Criminal Imagination. Dreary Nitpicker with a $4.99 super chat. Hail, Dreary Nitpicker says, I love how the Russian gets called a Nazi but responds saying he's a communist. As if it's better. Communists have murder 10 times more than the Nazis. That's a good point. Hail, Dreary Nitpicker. I think that's a very good point. Mikey Bomer with a $5 Australian super chat. Hail, Mikey Bomer, who says, hey guys, great review as per usual. Doomcock, did you see the chibi Doomcock I sent you on Twitter? No, I didn't. Would you resend that, Mikey Bomer? I have not seen it. I would like to see that. I would appreciate that. If you could, Mikey, send that to me. Would you? I'd appreciate that. Okay, you guys, look, we're getting ready to start the Batwoman review. So I'm thinking just to separate it out for people that are just interested in the Batwoman review, I will just pause here. I'm going to stop this live stream and then start up another one right away. So just hop on over to that one. And I will, the super chats that are here, I'll just pick right up from this point moving forward. Okay. So let's just do that real quick. Let's make this happen. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you guys stay tuned and pop back in just a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and start this and send the invite to Gary, get it boosted again. See you all in a few minutes, and I will read this, can pick up the super chats right where they left off. All right. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.